The pictures tell the story. This life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning, and before I'd start each day, I'd take a drag from last night's cigarette that smoldered in its tray. Down a little something, then be on my way.
Hey guys, David here with the Whiskey Rebellion. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday evening. I'm here with my co-host at the bar. This is Molly. How's everyone doing tonight? What are y'all drinking? Let's start out with the birthday boy this week, Mr. Billy, Cafe 305. Sir, how you doing? What you drinking, sir?
I am doing very, very well, and thank you everybody for the birthday love. I really, really appreciate it. Just trying to take it in and enjoy it. So I am having the Scranahans Blue Peak. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. I had a Scranahans before, but it was the first time with the Blue Peak. And when I tell you, I've had this bottle less than a week, and by tomorrow,
You like it, is what you're saying?
it will be gone. So it's really smooth. I don't want to use the word smooth. It's an easy drinker. It could easily be a daily pour. It's not very hot at all. You could drink it neat. One ice cube maybe at best. And when I posted it, a lot of people would really gave it good reviews. So yeah, I'm ready.
Very nice, very nice. Before I move on, Mr. David Fraley here said, this is already the best show ever. We can attribute that to it being either in honor of Billy's birthday or because of my co-host. Anyway.
Either way, he's right.
Yeah, either way, he's right.
Is.
He's right either way. Marky Mark, what's up?
And now that Mark's here, it's even better.
There it is.
Right,
it is.
Right. Let's go to David. David says he notices a pattern. That's what's up. All right, let's go to Gino. Gino, what you drinking, sir?
Gino is enjoying some Redwood Empire Emerald Giant tonight. I just find I keep going back to this in the rye world, and I just find it delicious. It's got a little bit citrus forward on it, a little bit kind of floral notes in it that I haven't been able to really pinpoint what I'm tasting, but I just find it delicious, and I keep going back to try and pick out what is that, and I haven't found that correlation for it yet.
I'll have to when I try that again, I'll have to see if I can pick anything out. But yeah, I'm also
it's just you get that sense that floral sense at the beginning. It's really hard to describe. It's different from the other ryes. It's different from the Michters.
Cool.
And I'm enjoying it. I keep going back to it.
Obviously. Well, good stuff. How about Rob, sir? What you drinking tonight? You're still muted. Do I need to unmute you? Or you're still muted. Maybe I can do it. Oh, I got you. Go ahead.
All right.
My bad, guys. All right.
Tonight I am drinking a little local thing here. This is Liberty Pole. This is their peated rye. It was a special release they did over the summer. I picked it up at the Whiskey Rebellion Festival that happens in Washington County here in Pennsylvania every year. And, I'm not generally a peaty person, but this one is like, it was a little more expensive of a bottle. It's probably in that $70 range. But it's a 6-year rye. The peat is cut by the spiciness of the rye. So, they have a peated bourbon that to me is really overpowering.
I've had that one, yeah.
Yeah, this one, that rye spice, and there's a little bit of fruitiness to it that just make that peat just not as overpowering. And it is just a fantastic core.
It cuts through that bog water, right?
Yeah, and I think our friend the Ascot reviewed. They've sent him this bottle for the last 2 years in a row, and last year he put it in one of his top 10.
Nice, really.
Nice.
So, I'm very intrigued by that. You have to like peat to spend. Really like peat to spend $70 on a bottle. for a peated whiskey. Even I have trouble with that sometimes. But that sounds like a really good drink. That it's nice and balanced. Usually, if I'm going for peat, I do want like just an absolute punch in the face with it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have bought it, but they were sampling it out at the Rebellion Festival, and I had a little half-ounce pour that they had, and I'm like, oh dang, I think I need to get me a bottle of that now.
Very nice. That sounds like good shit. Chuck, sir, Mr. Godfather, what you drinking?
Tonight I'm drinking Elijah Craig single barrel, private barrel. It's an 8-year. It's a store pick. Comes in at 132.9 proof.
Woo!
And I added a little bit of water to it with my dropper here because I started off with it a day or so ago. And it's a bit on the warm side without anything in it. And I usually tend to drink everything without prior to adding water. I don't do ice. Nothing against, anybody that does. No problem. Sure. But it's just, I just do water if I have to. But it's very good. I get a nice sugar cookie on the nose. Huh. Fantastic nose on it. A lot of molasses, sugar cookie. And I get brown sugar, pepper. And then that sugar cookie on the as far as taste, I get that as well. So it's a real nice drink. But, for an 8-year, it's unfortunate that they're not putting out any more private barrels, for store picks that are in the 11-year range. Mm. They seem to be getting away from that now. I guess they're saving that for their stocks for their, say, EC, or their, the barrel proof products that they're 12-year products.
Gotcha. It sounds like really good stuff. I think your only consternation is it's a little too hot, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But add that water to it. It's perfect.
Nice.
And I will say this, Chuck, about your tasting notes. I've never heard anybody say sugar cookie. That alone makes me want to try it.
Now you have.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know where you get your taste buds from, but goddamn.
That's wild. But I mean, once he does that though, like for me, it's not so much biasing the palate as expanding your vocabulary to describe. I mean, yes, you can. Like if I was to try it right afterwards, but like if I were to try another whiskey, in another setting, I may have the word apricot, sugar cookie, circus peanuts, for Christ's sake, like whatever it is. What do you say? That still gets me. You said something tastes like circus peanuts. It
was that candy though.
Yeah. And like it's that kind of thing, and being able to help build your own palate to pick out those flavors. It's like Gino, it's like you were talking about. There's something floral going on there with was it Emerald Giant, but you couldn't quite place it.
Can't place
Chuck
it yet.
would have a word. And if he said it, you'd be like, "Holy shit, that's what it is!"
Yeah,
but I'd have to get into the bottle.
He's done that to me before with a couple different things. It's like,
oh,
I taste this, I taste that, and I'm like, "Holy shit, that's it."
I mean, there's times when I can't just pick it right away. Sometimes I have to get into the bottle for a bit, and then I can pull it out.
And I will say this: I understand where Chuck is coming from. So when I make a batch of Carolina honey mustard, and it sits for a couple of days, and I take a little sample out of it, what I'm looking for is something that tastes like candy. And when I know I have that candy taste, I know it's exactly how it's supposed to be. So I couldn't even tell you what kind of candy, but it's like this really sweet kind of mellow thing on your tongue. But, when he says stuff like sugar cookie, if anything, it makes you think about a different flavor. And it's easy for him to translate to you what it tastes like. So that's excellent, excellent tasting note.
Yeah. Jack Frost here says, say it slow and low, sugar cookie. There you go. And then we got this here. Marky Mark, sir, what are you drinking tonight and how you doing?
What's up, fellas? So I am sipping ETL. Elma T. Lee, I brought some with me.
Oh.
I'm in Kansas City. Yeah, And Godfather, coming your way soon, brother.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah. And of course, let me just do this. You guys know what this means.
Oh yeah, I know what that means.
That means the hotel's going to order some towels.
Hey,
you're getting the turn down service. That's what it
Hey,
means.
that's one of the best things with COVID. They don't count towels now. I just keep getting towels.
Hey, Mama. Doing my show.
Oh, I unmuted him at the perfectly worst time.
Oh,
Sorry about that. Sorry, Rob. Yeah, I've got you mute. You because of the feedback. Just unmute yourself when you want to talk. Okay. All right. It's cool. It's cool. All right. Anyway, so here we are tonight. I think we titled the show something about the Godfather. He's going to basically tell it like it is.
Real quick. Before we get too deep, there is one thing that I would like to mention is tomorrow. It is Veterans Day. And I'd like to send a shout out to all the veterans, past and present. We owe them a debt that cannot be repaid. And I'd like to thank them all for their service.
There it is.
Cheers,
for the veterans.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir.
Cheers. Okay. So to get back to it, but I guess before we start, I'm drinking Daddy Rack tonight. This comes out of Columbia, Tennessee. Several of you've had it. I know Mal has it on his shelf in jolly old England. But yeah, you can see that there might be a bottle kill on this tonight. This is the same mash bill, by the way, as the Big Mustache that we've had many conversations about. This is aged and stuff a little bit differently. Big Mustache is definitely the superior product, but there's noticeable similarities. At around $30, very reasonable. It's good stuff. Anyway.
Just wanted to mention that I brought that Big Mustache to a bottle share 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
it was a huge hit.
Nice, see?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm glad I'm still finding it, which we did not think was going to be the case, but is. So you guys can find it. It's good for you. All right, so let's move on to our topic. And our topic is basically the Godfather is going to tell it like it is. He's got some questions and he expects some answers. Going to make us an offer we can't refuse. Sorry, I had to lean into that one a little bit. Chuck, talk to us.
Yes, sir. Okay, should we do a little bit of news first?
Yeah,
or?
let's do. Let's do some news first, and then we'll get into your discussion topic.
Okay, so basically, a few things have been announced. Old Forester, the 117 series, Warehouse H, they're releasing a new product from the 117 series. That's going to be a 375 milliliter bottle, and that should be coming out shortly. Along with Jack Daniels announced a new barrel or a twice barreled special release, and that's going to be American single malt whiskey finished in Oloroso sherry casks. That's going to be interesting. It's got a new grain, Grainville 100% malted barley.
Ooh.
So that may be a little.
That sounds like a winner.
Yeah, some people may not think so because it's Jack Daniels going against what they typically do. Jack Daniels pretty much tends to stay the same. Jack Daniels, except for maybe Proof Points and Sinatra, of course. So.
But that one sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Heaven Hill's debuting the Old Fitzgerald 19 year.
Saw that.
So that should be coming out shortly.
Just
sometime in December.
Real quick, Chuck. Not that I'm going to get my hands on it, but what do you think the price point of that's going to be?
That's probably, I think I recall seeing that price point of MSRP of $289.
Okay.
Now, will we see it at $289? Probably not.
No, absolutely not.
It'll probably have, even the stores that, you have relationships with might, try to hit you for another $20 or so at least.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to hit you for a cool 30 to 40 over easy.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Very
I
possible.
believe that. Yeah.
And then Leaper's Fork has another product coming out, which I really enjoyed the first product, the 4-year product. This is a 5-year, and it's called Freedom and Whiskey Gang Together. It's pretty much the same as their 4-year product. Their 4-year was a 100 proof bottle and bond. This one is, or this one isn't. And, you know, the only difference is that it's got the same mash bill and it's a 5-year age statement. So it should be interesting to compare against the 4-year if you're into doing that. So that's about it as far as the news goes. And then as my question is for everyone, you go to a store or the store announces online or you hear it, you know, from one of the bourbon groups, they have unicorns. They're for sale, of course, but you have to purchase at least another $25 or more of products in order to purchase that bottle. However, the caveat is that the seal is going to be broken in the store. Before you leave that store, they are going to cut the seal before you walk out of the store. And what are your thoughts on that?
So, being that I'm relatively close to law enforcement, there's a couple of things that you run into. So, you're talking about an open container, and you're talking about being in a moving vehicle that you're under operation. So you have that legal thing that you have to worry about. Outside of that, you know, if I'm going to come in your store and I'm going to purchase one of these unicorns, probably over retail, plus I got to buy another $25. I don't know at that point, you get to tell me how, what I should do with it. You know, you can buy a car from a dealership, drive it off the lot. If it's completely paid for, you can go anywhere you want and sell it for whatever amount you want, whether it's the same, less, or more. So, you know, I think they're overstepping with, you know, we're going to break the seal on it. And they're trying to overdo or try to, you know, stomp out the secondary market. I mean, really and truly, if somebody feels like that, they just won't get it from you. I think you're selling yourself short. If they paid for it, what you wanted for it, what they do with it is totally up to them. You know, I mean, that whole thing of making somebody buy $25 worth of other product, cool. I get that. As a business owner, I definitely understand it. You know, for me to send out a package in the mail, I'd rather you buy 2 or more different sauces because it costs me the same amount to send one as it costs me to send 5. So sure, I want you to buy more. Absolutely. I get it. You know? So no, but you know, telling somebody what they have to do and all that and the other stuff. And worst case scenario, if you get caught with an open container, I mean, fines and you know, legal fees could be in the thousands, you know, just to fight it. So I don't know about that. I can tell you here, at least in the state of Florida, that is considered an open container. And also, if for some reason you were doing a tasting or whatnot, and you were driving home and you got pulled over and you failed the sobriety test, it's an instant DUI. So you know, there's that part of it as well.
Yeah, good points. Good points.
Good point.
Who would like to go next? I do want to get Rob in there at some point. I feel bad I've got him on mute. But,
I can go next real quick because
okay.
For me,
Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, unicorns, wonderful. But you're asking me to make other purchases in your store, so that unicorn better be close to MSRP. Okay, you're going to want to break the seal. I understand that. I have got zero interest whatsoever in the secondary market. So if I purchase something, it's either going to be for a friend or it's for my consumption. Now, as far as open container, that'd be the risk I would run, but that would be, on the floor in the back seat. And as you guys can see, I'm a large individual. There is no way that I'm partaking of that bottle as I motivate along down the roadway. If I'm in that situation, I seriously doubt that I would have enough at a tasting. I'd fail a sobriety test. So I might be good on that situation. But it would have to be close to MSRP, and I wouldn't mind them breaking the seal so much because, like I said, I'm not reselling it. I'm going to give it away, or I'm going to consume it myself. But one thing I would have, and I would state, is like, yeah, you do whatever the hell you want to that seal, but don't pull my cork.
Future episode title, by the way.
Just don't pull the cork.
You can crack my seal, but don't pull my cork.
Don't pull my cork.
There you go.
And if I could add a little something to that, because he makes some very good points, I would almost say, if you can secure it, put it in the trunk.
Yeah.
If you will, only because, not that I'm a lawyer and I'm not giving legal advice, but any part of your vehicle that's locked, a warrant is needed to open it.
Yeah, there is that too.
Yeah.
There's also the caveat of, like, I think if you put it in a grocery bag, you can call it groceries, which adds another legal sort of hurdle for someone who's trying to search your car or trying to make claims about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it comes down to whether or not also that you live in a state that has open container laws. Like in Tennessee, I think open containers are allowed. Like you can only have an open beer and like a gun on your seat, and like it's fine in Tennessee. They love that shit here.
Unfortunately, it's okay to conceal.
No worries.
It's okay in West Virginia to be concealed carry and all that good happy stuff, but open container is a no.
Yeah,
I lost a good fifth of whiskey one time at a tailgate for West Virginia.
And also, when it comes to doing the tastings here in Florida, it's a little odd because you don't have to be fall over drunk. You can just be over the legal limit.
Sure.
So, I'm 240. So what takes me to get drunk legally and what somebody who's 120, what they take is going to be two totally different things. I tend to make it a point, if I am going to drink when I'm out, that I'm with somebody who's not going to drink. I can't chance it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's a fair point. Get it. Call a cab, call an Uber.
Yeah.
But John actually brings up an interesting point to this. Says he's not down for a broken seal. If I was out of town, I had to fly home with it. And we have certain people that do travel all the time, like Marky Mark here. He's going to pick up bottles when he travels, as he does. He had to fly home with it. Doesn't need to be sealed? Yeah, it would need to be sealed. The odds of you having a huge mess on your hands or having that bottle destroyed. Look, I used to work at the TSA. Like, we molested y'all's bags. Like, we left a love note saying it was good for us afterwards. Like, I mean, we were horrible to people's bags. If there's any chance of that thing leaking, like, yeah, you're screwed if this thing's already cracked, basically. Like, you're looking at a major problem. More than likely, you're going to be throwing your money away. I couldn't tell you how many times one of the under the terminal like baggage carousels for the screen would just reek of alcohol, where people have been throwing bags and they've smashed a bottle after they unwrapped it and they poorly wrapped it back up, and then they tossed the bag, and guess what? It's not going to protect it anymore. Now you've got a broken bottle anyway. But yeah, with a leak and stuff like that, like, we're going to take all that shit off to scan it. So like, it's definitely going to leak when we put it back on, even if we don't throw it and smash it. Like, there's a really good chance of that. And I'm just saying, because I was one of the assholes and I worked with a bunch of assholes and we were just bad to people's luggage. We were. I mean, that's just how it was. So he brings up a good point there.
I need my shirts back, David.
Yeah, but to get back on that.
Oh, you said it.
Is
this one of them?
My lighters.
I don't know what you're talking about. No. Mark, do we want to go to you next?
But hold it, Chuck was going to say something real quick.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, just responding to what John had mentioned, but you do have the choice of purchasing that bottle or not. Because you're given the ultimatum, the qualifications right there, the prerequisites. Hey, you have to do this in order to buy this bottle. So either you're chugging it to the airport or whatever before you get there, or you're not buying it.
Yeah, so as someone that travels a lot, and I got a few bottle shops. You see, I have one here. And it's I don't mind throwing a few bucks extra on a let's say BTAC as example. A few bucks, meaning maybe 20, but 20, 30. Other than that, I probably won't do it. But you can't make me buy another bottle, and then open it. Again, most people know I'm not much of a flipper. Now, on occasion, yeah, I will move a bottle or two, but that's not my thing. I'm not one to flip. So if most of the time, if someone's telling me something like that, they know I'm not a known flipper. So if you would try to put that restriction on me, that ball just won't stay there. Yeah.
That's a fair point.
And then you risk my loud posting ass talking about you, which I don't go negative often. So if I go negative, I think it'll hurt you more than it'll hurt me. But
yeah.
No, it's a fair point. Point. Rob, I want to go to you. I'm going to unmute you here. Oh, you got it? Okay, cool.
Got it. I guess I don't necessarily have a problem with it. If you're depending on where you are, I mean, and to John's point, if your seal is broken, if it's a wax bottle, you may be able to remelt the wax if you get back to your room, push, make sure the cork is tight and kind of remelt the wax so you can travel. Mm-hmm. I mean, that would be one way around that. But I'm like everybody else. If I'm going and buying something, I'm not a flipper. I don't even belong to any of the secondary pages because I just don't desire to do that. I know Jody and Chuck are and Mark are on some of the secondary pages, but
we trade things.
Right. We trade.
Yeah. No,
but
I mean, Mark,
that's where it becomes
Jody
relevant.
and I do.
That's a good point. Like,
we trade.
If I were to get a bottle of something allocated that I know one of you guys really wanted, I was going to do that, then send it to you in the mail. Well, now it's already cracked, and there's, greater risk of spillage and everything else like that. That would be the major concern. I don't think we would care so much if it was like non-pristine, like value wise,
right?
Because if we're sending it to one of you guys, it's because you want to drink it. Mm-hmm. So that's not so much the concern as, the retaining the bottle,
Yeah.
So
and I absolutely don't have a problem with those guys wanting you to buy something else in their store. I mean, they're going to try and push something that they know that they've got a profit margin on, right? That bottle of Wheatley vodka that's coming into their store at $6.99 that they're going to sell to you for $25. Right, so they know that they can get a better markup. That's the stuff that they're making you buy, and they're not in this to lose money. None of us are. None of us in business are in it to lose money.
Absolutely.
So I don't have a problem with that portion of it all. And like I said, it would go in my trunk, and I always have Old Shitty with me, so it'd probably go into Old Shitty and just be in the trunk with a bunch of shit around it. So even if I got pulled over, I'd be like, I ain't drinking out of that thing. Look how stuffed that thing is.
That's funny. So John said, honestly, what does it matter if a store sells a bottle at or near MSRP? It's yours to do with what you want with it. Yeah, I think there's a point there. If you buy the bottle, it's your bottle, right? At the same time, they can choose to, as far as I know, legally can set conditions upon which they allow you to buy the bottle, which would include, whether or not they crack the seal on it or what have you. I guess I question the wisdom of how effective that's going to be at really squelching like sort of the flippers and secondary, unless you're sending them, over the mail or traveling with them or something like that. Like if you're going to flip it to somebody local who really just wants that bottle, they may not necessarily care if the bottle's been cracked or not. If they trust the person they're buying it from, they may not stop them. But it's what it sounds like is that they're really the store owners and that are really trying to reduce the market share of the whiskey flippers, because if you're spending hundreds more on a bottle than what MSRP is, that's hundreds of dollars you're not spending in their store anymore, and that's what it seems to all come down to. Now, for me, for most of these unicorn shit, I mean, check the name, called the Pours. I think that's going to be pretty much my official nickname moving forward. But like, it's not going to matter that much to me. If I really wanted a bottle that much of like, I don't know, the Sinatra Bombergers or something like that, something that was within striking distance for me, and like, well, we're going to crack it. If I really wanted that much, I personally wouldn't care. But I see what they're doing, and I guess I'm not really on one side or the other of it, because it's not going to make any difference to me at the end of the day. I guess if you want to have the philosophical argument as to whether or not the secondary market's like bad for the bourbon community as a whole, then maybe you could side with the retailers here. But like that's as far as I go with it.
Well, I mean, and I've purchased a bottle that was open that I really wanted, that you really don't see floating around at all. So I don't mind doing that, as if I know the person, trust the product that I'm getting, that's okay. And I do think Jack Frost makes a good point, and so do you, because if I'm spending a couple of $100s over retail, you may not be so fast to go back to that same store, but on the other hand, if you build a relationship, you're not paying those prices. If you build, like Chuck says, a genuine relationship, you're not just walking in, hey, what's going on? What you got in the back? You shoot the breeze, you come in, you buy the extra stuff, whatnot. And I've learned to do that with some of the local stores here, and I almost never pay retail, And for me, even if I was paying retail, I would be okay with it, because there's been occasions where I have. But from the standpoint of being a business owner, you're in it to make money, So I get it. But I'm not a big flipper either. Anything, I don't think I've even ever bought a bottle that I resold to somebody else. If I bought it, unicorn or whatnot, it's because I'm going to drink it. It might take me forever because I got a good amount of stuff now, but at some point I am going to get to it.
I hear you. Chuck, did we get your kind of official take or /
Did everybody else get their chance?
I think everyone else is gone at this point.
Okay. How about you, David?
Yeah, I give my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean,
my literal 2 cents worth.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with the whole thing, as far as the sales, those prerequisites go. I mean, I don't have to buy it. And I can understand everyone's opinions on it, the my bottle, my choice thing. And that's cool too. And as far as but I just look at it this way: I can buy it or I don't have to,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way it sounds, with the way these things go, those store owners aren't interested in selling them for secondary. They just want you to come in and buy stuff. And I see that so much. You see so many people walk in the door, not even walk in the door. They open up the door. Hey, and they holler over to the cashier. Do you have Blanton's? Do you have X, this or that, or X and O, or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, we don't have that. And they walk out the door. They don't want that. They want you to come in, browse around, purchase something, whether it be a 6-pack, bottle of Mad Dog. They don't care. Just buy something.
Yep.
And then there's your chance to possibly get that bottle.
Yep.
But I digress here. But as far as it goes, yeah, I have that choice. I don't have to purchase it, but if I want to, sure, I'll do it. But as far as the driving with the product, the laws, yeah, put it in the trunk, or put it in if you have a vehicle without a trunk, put it in the furthest seat back behind the seat. in that vehicle
where you can't reach it. Yep.
where you cannot reach it. Just like it would be for like a weapon. Of course, you would have to have certain states. You would have to have that, the ammunition or the magazine stored away from the gun itself, or the weapon, I should say. But yeah, there's ways around it. But as far as traveling goes, if you wanted to purchase that bottle, yeah, there's ways you could, remedy that. If they had to cut the seal, you would have to put saran wrap tightly from top to bottom and cover that lid and wrap it tight so that bottle, does not, the cork doesn't pop.
Yep.
While you're in transit, especially in the air with the pressures.
Right.
But there's ways around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just be personally. I would just be on the offended side. That would be my thing more so than
right.
But yeah.
And I understand that too. And I would.
Because they're treating you like they're suspecting you to be kind of a slime, and that you're not really, you don't really want it for yourself. That you're there trying to make money off of what they should be trying to make money off of. Yeah, I can get why people would be offended by that. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. Go ahead, Chuck.
In that situation, no, you brought up a great point. In that situation, I would just say, no, I'm not interested in purchasing, that. That's all. I could or I don't have to. That's all.
Yeah. And again, I think in most cases I'll speak for myself, and I'm pretty confident I can speak for all of you all. If any of us are seeing those particular bottles, the shops know we don't just come in there looking for a BTAC. We don't just come in, hey, where's Weller?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Blanton's? Where's your Colonel Taylor? So I think most bottle shops that know us would know we're not coming in there with that foolishness anyway. So yeah, if someone were to try that with any of us, I think we'd all probably be offended.
That'd be Weller's, Mark. You got any of the Wellers?
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It is Weller's.
Yeah, that's funny. What do you think? What do you think of John's sort of approach here? Says he'll actually go up to the counter with a bottle or two that he's purchasing, and then kind of ask, "Hey, you got anything? You got anything fun back there?"
I do that with shops I know.
Yeah.
But even with that, usually the next question is, well, what do you want? I was like, oh, shit, I don't know. I was just asking.
Mm-hmm. I ask it in a different way. I've asked a few times, and that's back when I was hunting for Eagle Rare. I'd have my bottles up there on the counter already. And I said, how often do you get this in? When's the likelihood that you get this in? I never ask what's in the back.
Yeah.
I never ask, if it's not on the shelf, I don't ask, well, you have this hidden away back there? No, I just ask, how often do you have, get this?
Mm-hmm. See, I have fun with it, but
and I've done that a few times.
They know it's a joke, what I'm saying, it, and we all just get a good laugh out of it. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it's different when they know you're kidding.
Yeah.
For me, I've never asked if they had anything because usually back behind the counter, most of the bottle shops that I go to around here, they'll have a stack of stuff that you're going to pay more. They've had Taylor and Blanton's and some other things back there for you to inquire about. And I'm at the point where I just assume if it's back there, it's not going to be for a price I'm willing to pay. Because I think the last time I asked, they had Blanton's for $100, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'll inquire sometimes, maybe at this point, maybe it was 80. I might do it, but I can't go 100 on Blanton's. But it's stuff like that. I would never be just sight unseen. Hey man, you got anything? I don't know. I just feel like a douchebag for saying that, but
that's another thing too.
Sorry.
Anytime that I do go into the liquor store, even the small one that we've got in Brewston, I always buy something.
Yeah.
I always buy something.
Mm-hmm.
Never walk out empty-handed. I don't care if I'm, something will be there that I enjoy, and I'll pick it up. And the nice thing about that is even my little tiny store, can't really call it a store because it's in a little section in a Quick Mart and about the size made by a 10 by 10 room. But they do have Michter's Rye there.
You mean the gas station?
Yes, they do have gas pumps out front. Yes, sir.
Some of them even work.
But they do have Michter's rye, and usually if there's nothing new on the shelves, that's usually what comes home with me.
What the hell is Truly?
Of course you do, John.
No,
Truly.
truly, yeah, there
I've
it is,
seen
brother.
It's like a hard seltzer.
Oh, the white can. Okay.
Yeah. It's like
there's
kind
no
of an
such thing as a
alternative to
hard
white.
seltzer.
Got you. Okay.
I mean, I hear you. But at the same time, I've seen it. I might have drank some when I was at the lake. But, you can judge me if you want. It's fine.
We'll leave it for Jody.
If you put it in my hand, I'm probably going to drink it.
We'll leave it for Jody.
There you go.
He'll talk about you.
No,
All right, so Chuck had a second question for us.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Fire it off, Chuck.
All right. I guess we're finished and we've exhausted that first question. So let me see. So second question is, what's the youngest whiskey that you've actually genuinely liked? What is it? How old was it? When it comes to buying a bottle, is there an age statement that you simply will not go under, assuming you don't have a chance to try it first?
Damn. All right. I'll jump in first. That's a good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll jump in first because it's hard for me to answer because I'm not at home. I would have to look at a couple bottles that I know are young. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. In terms of age statements, I don't necessarily care about. I mean, I care, but it's not like, well, that won't deter me from buying it. If I taste it and like it, I'm cool. Now, if it's one I purchased blind, I'd say about maybe half of the young bourbons and whiskeys that I've purchased blind, I've probably liked about half of them, maybe 40%. But yeah.
Okay.
But I would need to be home to answer that. That's a damn good question, though.
Yeah.
It's largely
like it. And Mark, you could actually help me with my answer on this. You sent me a bottle. It was the 100% wheat mash bill.
Oh yeah.
And it was young. I cannot remember the name of it. It had like a gear or something on the bottle.
Spirit. Damn.
Spirit Works.
Yes.
That's it.
Spirit Works.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone got one last for Christmas. I was able to get a couple cases.
Hey man, and you know what? I know Jody hated his, I think. But I ended up like it grew on me. The youngness was very noticeable.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was 100% wheat and then it had that sweet wheat going on with it, it balanced it out nicely enough that it became very drinkable. Which is what I did to it. I drank it. But yeah, it was, I think age-wise, it was I think between 2 and 2.5 years.
Okay.
And that was, that was kind of like right on the cusp of like fairly young, but still enjoyable enough that it kind of makes the grade. The ones that I worry about the most are the ones that don't have an age statement and do taste obviously young. It's usually those are the ones that are going to disappoint you the most. In my experience, and I've seen those with like a lot of like young and terrible scotches and Irish whiskeys because it's not super common to get age statements with them anyway. But if you're getting a low class of one of those kinds of whiskeys, you're probably going to be in for a rough ride, and not in a good way.
You mean like proper 12?
Yeah, proper shit. So, or if Ma was here, proper cunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. That's my answer.
So for me, I'm sort of a creature of habit. So something like a monkey shoulder, which is on the young side, is but it's actually really, really good. So I haven't had monkey shoulder in probably at least a good year. But if it's something I know of, I'll definitely go for it. I'm not willing to go in on something that I haven't tasted or heard some kind of good review on. If it's young, and if I can't say I really care about age statements very much, but I would say anything 7 years and up is okay. Anything under that, I might question a little bit. The new riff, the first time I had it, I felt it was okay, got it for a good price. But when I had it again, I found myself to enjoy it a little bit more. So if I'm gonna get something young, it's gonna be something that I have some ideal about. When you guys gave it a good review, or I've had it before. But yeah, I don't, and I can tell you this with the young stuff, if it's gimmicky, I stay away from it. If I see the wooden staves in it and all that, and no, I'm not doing that. I take the money and buy some cigars and consider myself happy.
For sure.
So
What,
for
you don't want
me,
to try a little Oak and Eden?
I wouldn't do it again, but honestly, I did not hate the bottle that I had. But I also had that bottle for probably about 3 years before I finished it. And I don't know if that oak stave had that much of an effect on it or not, or if it just grew on me or whatever. But like, I didn't dislike the bottle at all. And it grew on me in time. Again, would I do that again? Probably not, based on a lot of things I've heard. But at the time, it wasn't bad. But go ahead.
I will.
That
Go
one's
ahead.
really pricey too. I mean,
Okay.
I know I saw it in Indiana, and it was $59.99.
I think I paid $50 for mine, but whatever. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not.
And
not
I
a $80 bottle.
I will say this: it's almost to a point to where, unless you're really just trying to support a brand or something like that, but you could literally walk into Costco and get, I think it's either a 7 or 10 year that they have, and it's actually pretty good.
The Kirklands.
Yeah, the Kirklands, and I mean it's always available. So I don't know if you necessarily have to go young and inexpensive, unless you, like I said, you're trying to support it or you just like it. That could very well be the case as well. But I think with Costco and the clubhouses, stuff like that, what they're doing now is, I walked into a Costco today. They had Angel's Envy. It was just your basic one, but they had it. They had High West. Your basic, but it was there. I think it was like 25 to $30, something like that. So you don't necessarily have to go young and cheap. I mean, not unless you just like your hookers that way, of course.
Oh man,
that was bad. I know.
Well, you come to the right place for it.
But I don't think you necessarily have to go that route. And again, like I said, I'm not crazy over age statements. I think sometimes that could actually end up costing you more in the pocket, as far as let's you get up there, the 10 year, the 15 year, the 18 year, the 20 year. When you get up in those high numbers, you're going to be paying for a bottle. Even some of the box retail stores, it's just one of those things. Dewar's is not that big, but they have a Dewar's 12 and a Dewar's 18. It comes in like this square bottle, and they're charging almost $100 for it. So, that's my 2 cents on it.
I think for me, it's going to depend on if I've tried it. I'm not going to go out and just buy something blind at this point. I mean, I've got too much stuff here to do that and finish on my own. I did. There was a sampling thing that happened where I worked. They did a little event, and they had a local company called Lucky Sign. They're getting some MGP product till they get their own stuff aged in barrels. And he had a 3-year rye that I bought a bottle of. That was actually pretty good. Because the rye takes a little bit of the heat. You get a little bit of the rye spice, kind of hides that heat of the age of it, and it being young. So, but unless one of you guys has talked about it, or I read about it and heard that it's pretty good for an under 4 year. 4 years, pretty much where I'm going to do my cutoff at. 4 year, something bottled and bond. I just see someone is. Oh, I'm heading down to Atlanta here right after Thanksgiving. Visit the grandbabies and the kids. and I'm going to go visit Old Fourth Distillery.
Nice.
And they have a 6-year cognac and sherry finish.
Ooh, that sounds tasty.
That sounds
That
really
they
good.
Nice.
special release that they did. It's their 4-year bottled and bond, and they took it and did a year in a cognac cask, and then finished it for another year in a sherry cask.
And I'm waiting.
I've
on Rob
already
to come to
emailed the distillery. I'm like, will you have it at the store? Because I will make a special trip down there on my I'm down there Thursday, Friday. The kids all work, so I'll be there when you open the doors at noon.
He's gonna get 2 bottles.
I absolutely.
He's gonna get 3 bottles.
Don't lie, don't lie, Rob. You're gonna help unload the damn truck. Don't lie.
And it's really 12:04. I'm driving down this time. I'm not flying, so got plenty of room in the trunk.
Hey Rob, make sure you go to ASW too, brother, for sure.
And I will.
Get over to ASW.
I do have I have a fiddler here. I like that.
Yeah,
the fiddler's good.
Let me know. I will talk offline, but let me know when you're going. If it's December, right?
That first weekend of December, the grandbaby's performing in the Nutcracker, so we're gonna go down and see that. But it's I'm there December 1st through December 5th.
I might try to get down.
All right.
I'll still be here.
Heck, I might try to get down. Atlanta's only like
flight.
3.5 hours from me, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about it offline.
Be truthful, Mark. Be truthful, Mark. That girl still got a warrant out for your arrest. Don't go down there.
He's gonna assume an alias.
Good. I'm good, brother.
That's funny. Who hasn't gone yet? Gino, have you gone?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Shoot for it.
And
let's go.
Like everybody else, I'm really not an age snob. I like what I like. I usually like anything 4 years and above. It's all beautiful. But this past summer on vacation, there was a little distillery just starting up. They've only been in business for maybe about a year or two. Now I think about 3 years now. And in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. I mean, deep nowhere, West Virginia. And they're making some decent stuff. And you're able to sample all their product right there at the distillery. And I came home with their single barrel, and it's aged 2 years. You can tell it is still very young. But if this was in the barrel for 4 years, damn, this would be some really good stuff. I mean, right now, the way it is, it's got that heat. It's got that rawness of being young and not mellowed out yet. But the flavors it's got with it are just absolutely delicious. And I have this is my second bottle that I bought down there that day. And I'm not going to finish this bottle till next summer when we're down there vacationing. We're in the vicinity when I can reload.
That makes sense. I feel that.
Yeah, I do truly enjoy it. They're very small. They're just starting out, and they do have some very good product. They started out making just regular corn liquor and legal corn liquor.
Smart.
And they've branched out and grown from that. So it's nice to see them develop and evolve. And yeah, I wouldn't go there for the corn liquor. I know too many other people where I can get it right from the source. That's much better.
Yeah.
And yeah,
you know what I mean.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. You got a little,
I know,
little burn in your throat.
A little bit.
Little lightning.
A little bit of that lightning in your throat, man. Yeah.
We'll see what I can help with that.
Yep.
Actually, George here has
may
a really
or may
good
not
question.
go blind, but you're really gonna have a good time. But George here, he asked a good question before we come back around to Chuck.
It does. And not like Chuck, and a lot of the other purists, they don't do the ice thing.
Yeah,
I do ice. I like my beverages to be chilled. And
No.
normally when you see me, and you'll see me post a lot of stuff typically, I have my evening dessert beverage, and I use those large ice balls that make there in the freezer, so it does not dilute the drink. And I can finish that drink before there's too much dilution into it. But yeah, of course there is some, and yes, it does take some of the top off.
Yeah.
But
Which it will,
that's just
you
the
know,
way I
it's a good
enjoy my
question.
part of
beverage.
it. But what do you think about adding this? And this is George's question before we come back around to Chuck, because I don't think he actually answered his own question. He says, maybe blasphemy. Do you find a couple of drops of water to help a younger whiskey? Because we've talked about, a whiskey that's really hot, maybe a few drops of water to open it up, or some ice or something like that. What do you think about that for the younger ones? Do you find a noticeable difference?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah, I think you definitely will notice it, but you drink it how you like.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I did notice the difference between straight up.
Oh yeah.
Usually when I try something new, it's straight up.
Yeah.
So I understand what I'm drinking and what I'm
And
looking at.
if
And
I
then
don't-
it'll be on ice.
And then if I don't want to use ice, I will take a glass, put it in the freezer, let it get frosted, and then pour my drink into it. So it's
That's a
not
cool
necessarily adding
No pun
ice
intended.
or water. It's just that the whole drink in itself is a lot cooler going down.
Yeah, and I've tried the stones. I've got different size stones. I've got the stainless steel cubes and all that, and I've tried that. It doesn't put that chill into it. But like Billy was saying, chill in a glass, leaving a glass in the freezer, that works. But down and dirty, get that large ice ball, bam, done.
And
There he is,
didn't
of
we know what
course.
he was going to say about it? Clear ice.
Mhm.
He's got the whole process for you. And you go back to one of our old shows. He gives an entire dissertation on clear ice.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, with regards to that, if I tend to not add water or ice typically unless I'm like outside on a hot day. Like if it needs help with like water or ice or something like that to like make it more palatable, I'm probably just going to drink it faster, like just to get through it kind of thing. And it is a truly bad drink if I'm looking to cut it with something. If I'm trying to add, this is like the Wheatley vodka and I'm going to mix it with OJ or whatever the hell. Like it's got to be real bad for me to be wanting to really consider mixing it. Because even if I was going to make like an old fashioned or something like that, I wouldn't use a whiskey that I thought was like kind of rough and not enjoyable on its own. I would want something that's at least baseline, of like a Woodford or like Evan Williams bottled bond, something like that for doing a cocktail. So water may help. I just probably not going to do it. Chuck, please answer that question and then talk to us about the youngest you'll go.
Answer George's question first.
On whiskey.
Answer George's question first, though, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
As far as the younger ones go, I will add some water to it, but first I will drink it straight. No ice, straight, just how it should be.
Yeah, take a taste. Yeah.
I don't buy into the whole neck pour thing. So if I want to shake it up like this, is it still a neck pour? So I'll drink it straight. Then I'll add some water to it later on. Maybe a day or two later if I get back into the bottle. But, because that could cut down on some of the, the alcohol, the, whatever you call it, ethanol. And, so that's what I'll do.
Like there's a conversation I'm missing here.
I'm sorry. No. Listen.
No, you're not. First of all,
I just got to. I'm not sorry. But listen, Chuck is a goddamn legend. I don't care what nobody says.
Oh, bullshit.
He's a goddamn legend. With the neck pour, he's a goddamn legend. I swear to God. Hands down. Listen, Chuck.
Is it still the neck if you turn?
Listen, I just want to be able to tell my grandkids I know you. That's it.
I appreciate that. At least somebody's going to give a shit about me later down the road.
That's funny.
No, but go ahead, finish up, brother. Finish up.
But as far as this second question goes, what's the youngest whiskey that I've actually genuinely liked? There's a lot of them. You have American whiskeys that are 2 years. Some of them are really good. A lot of them are blend of straights. So as far as, here's one here, the little one that I was just shaking up. It's a Willet straight rye whiskey. It's a 3-year.
Okay.
54%, 108 proof. And it's a Willet rye, 3-year. Just a little 99 cent or whatever they charge for it bottle. And it's pretty darn good actually for a 3-year. There's another one that Mark sent me. I can't remember the name of it, but you sent me 2 of them, Mark. They were in little squat bottles.
Okay.
They kind of look like the White Dog bottles that Sazerac produces.
Yeah.
One had a green neck tag and the other one had a black neck tag. One was bourbon, one was rye.
The bespoke bottles.
That's it.
Yeah.
They were good, and I believe they're 2-year.
Yeah, they were young as hell. Yeah, I was surprised, but I figured you'd appreciate it. But yeah,
And I was impressed with the green. Well, actually, both of them.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about those. I got 2 of them at home.
And as far as an age statement goes, that I won't go under. I don't know. With me, if it's under 2 years, I'm going to have to try it first.
Yeah,
for sure.
If I can try it first, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. If it's good, but I really have to try it first at that point.
Yeah. There was a small distillery in Washington. I was down there doing this Whiskey Rebellion Festival, Washington County, and it's a B&B something distilling. Really a new place. So, you can go in and get a sample of they're sampling their whiskey, and I went in and got a sample. And I looked at the bartender and I'm like, how old is that? And he's like, I think it's like 6 or 8 months. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you putting any kind of a whiskey? And even for an American whiskey, I'm like,
they're trying to get product in the market to stay afloat until they can age shit.
Yeah,
I get that.
Make gin, guys. Make gin.
Make vodka. Make gin. Till you get your stuff aged right.
Yeah.
Make a rye. Go rye.
Yeah, you can do rye
go.
in a couple of years.
And they're trying to compete. They're literally 3 blocks away from these guys from Liberty Pole, and these guys did it right.
Yeah,
I mean they aged their product before they put it out. They didn't want to do the whole. There's another one in this area called Weigel. They didn't want to do the whole gin and vodkas and Fallernums and rums, and they wanted to do whiskey. They aged it right, and they did it right.
Yeah, if you've ever seen just like a startup distillery, like. I've got the equipment. I'm going to make shit with it to try and keep myself in business long enough so I can make better shit. Like that's for like the absolute, or you want to call it mom and pop or whatever. Like they have the still. They've got like just the basic equipment for making all this stuff and just enough room for maybe a couple dozen barrels or something like that. Very, very small time. When I went down to that distillery in Lawrenceburg or just outside of Lawrenceburg, it was very eye-opening of what it's like for, basically a rinky-dink distiller. Like you're going to do whatever you can and sell whatever you can to whoever will buy it to try and turn
Amber in West Virginia did that.
Yeah.
They started out, they got a lot of MGP product in and blended that with some of their own. And some of their stuff is very good. They make that contradiction, both the regular bourbon and the rye.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, very good stuff that they're making.
Yep.
It's just they were a small startup, and they had to do. That's what they did to make a buck to keep moving.
On PA's shelves, they just put out their single barrel, their single cask, 5 or 6 year Smooth Ambler. I was tempted to pick that up.
That's good. The Founders series.
Mm.
Yeah, grab that. And if you can get more than one barrel or one or more than one bottle, let me know.
And
I'll pay you for it.
I will say this. I'm never gonna knock anybody for trying to get out there and do their thing. I can surely relate. But I will say this. If you had the bare minimum, like when I started out, I started out with a pot and some ingredients, and that was it.
Yeah.
You still have to put a product out there that one, you can be consistent with, two, that you can consistently deliver to your customers. And you can't put a bag product out there just to make money because it's not going to sell.
Right.
You know, I've had barbecue sauces from 2013 that I wouldn't put out now just because it will seem too gimmicky or the market isn't right for it. And for me, even when I made my very first barbecue sauce, I literally probably went out and had about 100 different barbecue sauces and said, okay, well, I know I need to fit in this lineup, you know, and fitting in that lineup will sometimes force you to get quality ingredients just to be in that level. You know, it's just, I think it's just one of the things you have to do, you know, whether you're, you know, from the ingredients to the equipment that you use, all that's going to play a part. I mean, but hell, you can buy used barrels and you're better off than using plastic jugs.
Yeah.
You know, and the used barrels are going to cost you more, absolutely, but again, they're going to yield a better product. So if my consumers are asking me what in the actual is this shit and telling me to put it back in my pocket, I probably need to go back to the drawing board. And you know, they say everybody has a boss. My clientele, my customers are my bosses. I get feedback all the time. Make bigger bottles, make this, do that, and I have to listen to all of it. So if your clientele is telling you, listen, I'm not saying it's dog shit, but I just don't think it's ready for the dog and pony show yet. You know, you have to go back and listen to that. I mean, it's
gallon-sized bottles with the pump.
Hey Billy, so does that mean I can tell you what you should do with your recipes?
But you know, but see, here's the thing. I know my product is consistent, but if somebody says, okay, if you want to be in retail or you want to be in the commercial space, you know, retirement homes, schools, this, that, and the other, I will get, you know, half-gallon jars that fit the pump because that's what my clientele is going to tell me. You know, so I'm not against. Listen, my ears are wide open; they're big enough, so I listen to every type of feedback that I get. People told me that the opening on my tops are too big. I'm working on it, but it's a process, you know, and not everything's going to make the cut, of course, because you can't please everybody. But if a product is generally not ready to be on the shelf or something needs to be reworked, I'm sorry. I would never put anything in a plastic barrel. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I pay more for clear bottles than I do opaque bottles, only because the look, the taste, even the smell is different. So I pay more for them, plain and simple. But you know, we know some distillers, the younger ones, they use these ugly blue plastic.
It's exactly what I saw when I they use plastic barrels and they put like oak, not even they look like parts of barrels that were like put in it, like and that's how the aging process. Wow. I mean, the whiskey that turned out, I tried it. It was inoffensive in the fact that it didn't stand out as bad, but like it didn't really taste like you were drinking anything either. Like just kind of flavorless almost.
With Still Hollow, the one that I showed earlier, they do use new American oak barrels. They're smaller. But what they do with that is the bourbon, what they're going to do with their bourbon, that goes in the barrel first. Then they'll reuse that barrel and reuse that barrel.
That's fine.
Reuse it and reuse it. They'll put their other products in it. They've also got a couple local farmers that keep bees. They'll do a honey mead in it. They'll do maple syrup. You know, they use those. They must reuse those barrels. I think, if I remember right, with the guy that did the little tour there, I think they reused those barrels 8 times before they retired.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Got to get their money out of it.
No, yeah, and like I
Absolutely.
said, they're small. They're just starting. They're building themselves up from the ground up.
And just a side note, anybody out there listening, if you get your hands on some old barrels and you happen to have a good offset smoker, that wood in the offset smoker is absolutely delicious.
Mm.
It will give you such flavor into your products. It's not even funny.
That is good.
So, yeah.
I was going to add one final thing on ages and stuff, and we were talking about with whiskey and how young you would go. It is a little bit of a different game in my experience with rum. So when you're drinking a rum, the youngest I would go, and that's only with like kind of a high quality product like I don't know, like Foursquare, even though they're overpriced, they are good. Would be like probably 6 years. You really would not want to mess with much anywhere. And Mark, you can either back me up on this or contradict me. That if I saw a rum that was like only 4 years, unless I had tried it and just had my socks blown off, it would be a hard pass for me. I'm like, that's going to taste like crap. It's a headache in a bottle is what I'm looking at. Yeah. You want more years on a rum for stuff that's not super high quality. Like honestly, like 12 and up is a good place to go. For better quality, you could do 6 or 8. In terms of years, I would really be hard pressed to pick up a bottle of rum that was only aged 4 years. I would be deeply worried about it.
I agree with you, brother.
Yeah. That Bacardi 8-year, I'm enjoying the hell out of that right now.
Good.
Yeah.
David, you mentioned Foursquare. Do you mean the black bottles or do you mean the square tall bottle?
I mean Foursquare, the brand.
Okay, because Foursquare, the brand, the owners, he basically is very against adding any additives or anything like that to his product.
Yeah, it's not. None of his stuff is dosed or anything like that. Yeah, it is a higher quality product. It's a little bit, it's like kind of like the Ducati of rums. It's like, yes, it's nice, but it is a little overpriced for what it is. But it is good stuff. I've had, I think maybe 2 ever and enjoyed them both.
I think you had the Sagacity one time.
And I tried something else once. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, both really good stuff. They're just pricier rums. You're looking for $80, $100 for most of those. The Sagacity was like the floor basically. I paid like $65 for it. Still really enjoyed it. It is a great rum. But yeah, and I think that one's like probably 8 years. And I would not look for anything that young of something that was like a less quality brand, because most of the time I'm looking for like 18, 20, 23 years in a rum typically. And that's not necessarily a high dollar rum, because if heard me rant and rave about the what is it, the Zafra 23 $50 bottle. It was like $47 plus tax. That's not super high dollar, but it's good. See what is David here. Enjoy the show. Drive for Uber in Pittsburgh. So listen as I drive. Already know what you guys look like, so I'm not missing anything. All right, man. Next time I'm gonna have to request you if I'm ever up there again, because I'm probably gonna think I'm gonna need a damn Uber.
You gotta find them.
If I'm doing it right, I'm gonna need to call you.
And I want to say one thing before we close out. Again, I want to take a second and just say, listen, I've been on the show for a while, and each and every time I learn something new. And Chuck, your questions tonight were absolutely great. Yeah. Questions I never thought about myself. And I really love the feedback that we kind of got from everybody. I don't really tune into too many of the other shows that are out there on the internet. So maybe I'm a little biased, but Jesus Christ, guys, just the stuff we learn from each other, different views on stuff. And we're not always on point, but sugar cookie.
I feel like he's saying that like he says moist.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm thinking more.
That's going to be the next comment.
But listen, I want you guys to know I appreciate your guys' input and your knowledge. Chuck makes you think about shit that you never thought about before when it comes to tastings,
Definitely.
Jesus Christ, Chuck!
appreciate
If you was an FBI agent, I wouldn't jaywalk. Jesus Christ! This guy,
He's like,
I know it.
you shouldn't jaywalk.
Yeah.
You believe me when I told you what I do.
Yeah.
There it is.
Moist.
Yeah, there we go.
Moist.
And there's
Oh my!
you gotta chase down your whiskey with a big bottle of creep juice. There you go.
Oh,
Oh my!
Oh gosh.
Good luck with that.
All right, this
Yeah.
was fun, guys. Yeah, we're at an hour and 15, man. This has been a long running
Yeah, it was
show.
a good show.
We're gonna go
Yeah,
ahead
it's
and
a
kick
good
over
show
to the after
tonight.
show.
Hey.
Thank
We
you all for
talked
being
whiskey
there.
tonight.
We did talk
talked
whiskey
whiskey.
tonight.
Yeah,
we
we
did.
Yeah, we did. And happy Veterans Day tomorrow.
Yes, happy Veterans
Yes.
Day to all the veterans. Thank you for your service, everyone.
Yeah,
Hope I see
thank you.
Mark, notably here. Absolutely. Guys, much love. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Get us on YouTube and Facebook. Hit the little bell and the notifications. That way you know when we're coming on so you can watch.
Yep.
All right. I'm David. It's been a Whiskey Rebellion. Y'all have a good one.
Take care, family.
later.